picture. I thought you put my picture up there, you bastard.
That's you're supposed to do that. We're live now. We're live. But Brendan Taylor here, True School Sports. I got the man himself, Rick Glaser. How's it doing, Rick?
Well, I'm glad to be here alive tonight with you. I spent 8 days in the hospital in Vegas. It was one of the more unpleasant experiences of my life. I almost bit the bullet, but I'm here to be on your show. I mean, I couldn't die before the opportunity to be on your show again. What the hell?
Yeah, it's been a while, so I'm grateful that you survived the health scare. It's good to see that you survived the health scare and you're good and things are slowly on the up and up.
Yeah, very. They're going up, but very slow. That's correct.
Yeah. But Rick,
but I bet I'm doing better than Showtime Boxing. That's for sure.
Yes, you survived. You survived longer than Showtime Boxing, so I want to give you a pat on the back for that one, Rick. But you had the tweet on September 22nd. You said pretty much that Showtime was out of boxing. You've been saying it all year, but you confirmed it about 2 weeks before most of the media outlets. So I wanted to get your overall take on the whole situation, Rick, with Showtime. What do you make of it?
Well, people ask me how I knew and everything else. Okay, and I'll tell you how I knew. So I've always been putting out these pay-per-view numbers for years, and these people like Stephen Espinoza and Leonard Ellerby, either working for Showtime or a PBC operative, they've been saying, "Oh, my pay-per-view numbers are wrong. They're the ones that are correct." Well, I knew mine were right, and in the meantime, the numbers that they had were phony numbers, and of course, the top executives at Showtime and Paramount would know that, but everybody was fooled into thinking that these shows were successful. And I knew that my numbers were real, and I knew what my numbers were. And if my numbers were real, which I knew they were, then they were losing money on every show. Showtime was losing basically money on every show, or not making any money. Now they did make money on a couple of shows. Ryan Garcia versus Tank Davis. They did do decent numbers on a couple shows, but overall they lost money. And I saw what the ratings were. They were getting 227, 249, 275,000 viewers for their Showtime Championship Boxing, and I knew that wasn't going to cut it.
Yeah,
and it was so obvious to me what was happening that they were trying to send out public propaganda like everything was wonderful, and it was a big failure. And I recognized that early on. And in December of last December, I said in the fourth quarter of the year, Showtime will announce that they're going out of the boxing business, is what I said. And October fits in the fourth quarter. The fourth quarter would be the last 3 months of the year. And they announced that they internally agreed on September 22nd that they were done in boxing. Internally, they said it, but they didn't announce it until what was it, this past Tuesday, I guess.
Yeah.
This past Tuesday. And you know what? People act like I'm gloating about it. No, I'm very upset. I always look forward to Showbox. Gordon Hall,
I love Showbox.
The executive producer of Showbox. He's a great guy, and he did a fabulous job. But it's a shame. But Showbox and Gordon Hall were collateral damage. If they ran their business properly, lawyers are not businessmen. Okay, Stephen Espinoza is a lawyer by trade. Lawyers are not businessmen, and I will show you a major flaw that they made. Okay,
what's the major flaw?
They were dwelling out between $5 and $6 million for those Saturday night regular Showtime shows. Okay, and they were drawing between 225,000 and 275,000 viewers on a typical Saturday night, right?
Yep.
You realize that if they would have spent $500,000 to $600,000, they would have gotten about 200,000 viewers, and they'd still be in business today.
Would have been in the same ballpark, pretty much.
It would have been right. Right. The views would have been maybe a little less, maybe just a little over 200, but it wouldn't have been that much different. And they were spending 5.5, $4.5 million, $5.5 million more for what they were doing. Now you add that up, and that happens once a month. I mean, that's a ton of money at the end of the year, and they didn't know what they were doing. I saw it, recognized it. I told everybody. And then everybody was doubting me because what are you talking about? They just signed Canelo. They just got Crawford. They don't have Crawford. He had a deal with Spence to fight twice, and that's it. They got no other deal. Okay, yeah, they have Canelo for 3 fights. They've already done one. They already talking about making the biggest fights. They got Canelo. I said, I'm telling you, it's a going out of business sale. Okay, what they were trying to do was they were trying to see if bringing these biggest names in on the pay-per-view would help the pay-per-view, and then they realized it wasn't to be, and that's really what happened. They lied about the Crawford Spence pay-per-view numbers. They never have told the truth, for Christ's sakes. I mean, it's amazing that and I told everybody that these guys are lying. He said, well, why should we believe you and not them? I said, listen, if their numbers were real and they were that good, Showtime would be announcing those numbers. Not being floated to the media by the PBC operators like Leonard Ellerby.
Yeah.
Okay. And then Dan Raphael running around telling people, I don't know what I'm talking about. And, do you know that?
Well, that happened to me when I was in Vegas. I went to the Tank Ryan fight, and a couple like some people were getting into arguments with me saying, "Oh, well, you interview Rick Glaser, and he's fake news. He keeps saying all this about Showtime." So when all this came out, it was kind of funny to see.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly. Do you know that Steven Espinoza and Dan Raphael being a PBC lackey these days, you know that they went around telling everybody, I didn't know what I was talking at the Canelo Charlo fight. They run around telling everybody that I didn't know what I was talking about. All bullshit and everything else. They were running around telling people this. I know 4 people that called me up and said, "Hey, Rick, this, not knowing that these guys were friends with me, and it's just out of control." And of course, I'm not always right, but a huge percentage of the time I'm right, and I was right again. And sure enough, the fourth quarter of the year came around, and boom, and I knew the announcement before they did. Matter of fact, Espinoza didn't even know the announcement. When I found out September 22nd, he really didn't even know yet. So I knew more than him, and he worked there.
Absolutely. You had an interesting tweet where you said Al Haymon has ran through now, what is it, 11 networks?
Yeah, $900 million of Whiteout Reed funding and 11 networks, and it's just incredible. And most of those networks don't want to hear about boxing anymore. But NBC got back in it through Peacock just now. And ESPN got in and back when they threw Haymon out in 2016, early 17. Then they got involved with Aram, of course, and the rest is history. But 9 other networks don't even want to hear about boxing anymore because of Haymon.
Yeah,
you can't. Here's the thing: what everybody misunderstands, they don't get. They're not. People talk about both sides of their ass, and they don't know what you're talking about because they're not in business. Okay, you go to these networks for the money, like Haymon does, to fund these shows, and if the networks are going to lose money, it reflects on boxing and that executive that they're getting the money from, and they're going to go out of business. That's basically what happens, and that's why all these networks went down with Al Haymon, and boom, they're all losing money. Now, if Showtime said, "Okay, Haymon, we're going to give you $500,000 a show. You're going to put a world title fight on. You're going to put an eliminator on and a hot prospect opening up the show, and you're going to have 2.5 hours of airtime or 3 hours of airtime or something like that." they would still be in business today. But these guys, they think the more the merrier. The more, not the merrier. When you can go there, most people sitting at home do not know the difference between a $5 million show and a $500,000 show. You can go put on a $500,000 show, put great fights on, okay? And
that's all that matters is great fights. That's all that matters.
Right, great fights, correct. I mean, listen, there's a lot of little guys that are fighting for 75 and 100,000 and 100 and a quarter for defending their world title. You could put them little guy fights on. You could put on a 2 prospect heavyweights on. You could put an eliminator on. You could put a beautiful show on for $500,000-$600,000. You don't need to spend all that crazy money that these guys are spending, and that's why they're out of business today. And because, of course, the pay-per-view numbers, they weren't doing the pay-per-views, and they were lying. They were overpaying the fighters, and you just can't do these things. Everybody's saying, "Oh, this guy's got made this." Says, okay, the fighter. It's all short-sighted. The networks are not going to do boxing if they're going to lose money. If they make money, now they're going to stay in boxing. Now, here's what people said. Well, they were going to shut it down anyways, no matter what. That's not true. Corporations like that, TV networks, media agencies, they don't shut down successful businesses that are making money. They shut down losing businesses that they don't see a future in. And this is what they gave them. And listen, they didn't learn their lesson from these other networks when with Showtime, and they kept renewing with Al Haymon. I mean, the guy's a kiss of death. Let's be truthful about it. The guy is the kiss of death.
Absolutely. When he got that Waddell & Reed hedge fund money, obviously he was buying a bunch of time slots and whatnot. Airtime, yeah. In retrospect, like now that all this time has transpired and it's ran its course, like what do you think he was trying to do with all that money? Like, was he trying to do a monopoly? Or
I don't know. You asking me how a sick individual thinks. I don't know how a sick individual thinks. I'm not a sick person. Well, let me explain to you about that deal. Ready? This is why that deal is going to fail from Jump Street. So they were selling advertising on the network as part of the time buy. So they would guarantee the network the money for them, and they keep the advertising, right? Mm-hmm. Now, let me ask you a question. Let's say you're a beer company, you're AutoZone, auto parts company, you're all these things. Why are you going to buy advertising for Al Haymon for boxing when these when companies like EC and these companies they were doing business with, ESPN and companies, excuse me, they can sell time for NFL football included in boxing, NASCAR, baseball, and basketball. Well, you're just going to buy boxing. Yeah, it was doomed to fail.
No, absolutely. Are there any similarities? Are there any similarities between Al Haymon and Harold Smith from the 80s? Remember him?
Well, that money was outright stolen
from the banks, right?
Different. Yeah, that was a little different. That money was outright, fraudulently stolen. This is what I would call a, what was it? I don't know. I'm not going to use the word stolen. I'm not going to use the word fraudulent, but it stinks. Let's put it that way to you.
I got you. The fighter that seems to be the most affected by all this, and you tweeted about it on Twitter, is Jaron Ennis, because he has this loyalty to Showtime, and now they're out the business. What do you make of his future now that?
Well, suppose he was getting $1.3 million a fight, and nobody's going to pay him anywhere near that. So he's got real, what's he going to do? Go fight for $400,000 or $500,000, and he's used to making $1.3 million. Now, how you'd separate that is where he was fighting once a year, twice a year. Maybe they up it to 3 times a year. and and maybe they have increasing numbers, and they give them a base, let's say, of 500,000. If it hits such and such a ratings, they'll go up more, and it hits such and such a rating, they'll go up more, and maybe he fights 3 times a year instead of once or twice.
Okay, yeah, because I know he had the whole BLK Prime thing that apparently BLK Prime called his dad, and then his dad was like, "Nah, you got to go talk to Espinoza because those are my people and they treat us good." So, what did you make of that, by the way? The whole like Crawford Boots BLK Prime thing that happened back earlier in the year. Do you remember that? Hearing about that at all?
What did I think about it?
Yeah.
I didn't think anything about it, to be honest with you.
Okay. Fair enough.
I mean, it just didn't. Boots turned it down, and Boots didn't want to fight Crawford. That's the real truth. Come on, let's be realistic.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Okay, I don't think it was loyalty. I think it was protection. Protection from the great wolf. You know what I mean? The great bad wolf.
I got you. Shout out to Pops with the super chat. He says, "Thank you, Rick Glaser, for coming on the show. Everyone show support. Thank you, Pops." There you go.
Is that your dad?
It's my dad.
Tell him I said hello. Good man.
Yes, great
I know
guy.
he's a good man. He raised you properly.
Yeah, big fan of yours. Big fan of yours.
Thank you very much.
We had a couple questions for you, Rick, though. Somebody asked earlier in the chat, they asked, did PBC lie about the Wilder Helenius numbers? Oh, yeah, they lied about everyone. I mean, the Tank Davis numbers are the biggest lies. They said it did over 200,000 homes in 2021, December 5th, when he fought Pitbull Cruz, Isaac Pitbull Cruz. They said it did over 200,000, and it did 52,000 homes. Then this right before the Tank Davis Ryan Garcia fight back in January 7th, he fought Hector Luis Garcia, and it did 61,000 homes. And Ellerby and Dan Rayfield running around and telling me he did over 200,000. Well, wait, hold it. Then Espinoza comes out. No, that number was greatly exaggerated. He said that was not right. That number's exaggerated. So even he admitted that 200,000 was a lie. Hey, I got him by the balls, okay? And they were trying to figure out how I knew and how all this information I'm getting and stuff like that. They're just, it is what it is, Yeah. That boy 26 says Pro Box TV does it best with a smaller budget.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's exactly what they could have done. They could have done a Pro Box, even though Pro Box is even less than 500,000. I mean, they could have put at least they could, right, much less. But they could have put on a world championship fight for $250,000. The champ, the challenger, the sanction fees, all the travel costs. Okay, they could have put on an eliminator for 125,000, would have brought up to 375, and they could have put 2 young guys on for, let's say, 25,000 a piece, come in at like 450, and plus, I mean, everything they did was screwed up.
Yeah.
So.
We'll see what the future holds.
The problem with boxing, it's too top heavy, and the networks can't carry the abundance of that cost.
And there's not really a lot of fighter development in boxing anymore because there's not enough dates to develop the fighters properly.
Well, I'm not even going to go there with that because you're right, but
yeah,
we haven't got that far down the road yet. We will have that happen in a year and a half. Okay, 2 years from now, you will see that problem. But right now, they're their own problem when you're spending millions for these kind of shows, and they don't get the ratings. And it's 200. And now you could say, well, it's a subscription generated network. But if people aren't watching, that means people aren't renewing their subscriptions to watch boxing. So. It's a cynical effect, and it goes into it's a circular cynical effect, and it's really a shame. But it's a funny thing. How do I know more than the TV executive running the network? And I work out of my condo in Williamsville, New York, a suburb of Buffalo. I mean, I know more about that network, about the numbers, what they're doing wrong, how they can improve. And this guy had his job, and they're probably paying him $1 million, $2 million, $5 million a year. It's appalling. It's absolutely, and he ran the mother load into the ground is what he did. Espinosa and Haymon.
And now there's no Showbox as a byproduct of that. That's unfortunate.
Yeah. And Gordon Hall is a wonderful man, and he did an unbelievable job with Showbox, and he's a classy guy, and he's collateral, and him and Showbox are collateral damage because the stupidity, of Stephen Espinosa and Al Haymon.
Okay. Is there any truth to the rumors of PBC potentially going to Amazon? Because that's floating around out there that maybe they're going to go to Amazon.
Right. Well, okay. So here's the story. Amazon has offered him a deal with no money and no guarantees, strictly as a pay-per-view distributor. That's no bargain. Who's going to guarantee the fighters money?
So basically,
Heyman's going to have. Yeah.
It would be similar to what they're doing right now, right? Because they just be putting all their big fights on pay-per-view.
They would be putting everything on pay-per-view.
Yeah. It'd be even crazier.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because boxing programming in general, I think, is just in a real interesting space. Like, apparently now there's rumors that Disney might sell. They want to get rid of ESPN. They want to sell ESPN because now they released the financials and the numbers are kind of down, and apparently ESPN Plus even lost more subscribers than they gained for the first time. Did you read about that?
I've heard. I didn't read it actually. I've heard bits and pieces from people talking about it, but you got to remember something.
Okay.
The streaming. I said in the fall of 2017 that apps were the future of boxing. Okay, do you remember that?
That one of my first interviews I did with you. We talked about that. Yeah, back in 2018.
Okay. Well, I had started in 2017 with the I said apps, and now we've come full circle to where everything's on apps. The only thing that's not on an app is ESPN's regular. But the same fights are on the app. Now what they're doing is they're showing 2 or 3 fights on the regular TV, but you can watch all 9 fights on the app. And they're trying to switch people over to the app by doing that. And we're in an app-driven world today, and we're in an app-driven sport today, and that's all there is to it. And I've said this all along. I keep telling people, and like certain people don't listen. I call them Freddie Flintstones, and that I can't watch boxing on apps. Buy a fucking app, you idiot. It's not. It's $10.95 a month. Another one's $1.99. Another one's $2.99. Spend $20 a month and watch all your boxing. Or spend $25 a month. You cheap bastard.
Nobody really has cable anymore. Everything's
well. I have cable because I get it for free. Okay, because I live in a condominium complex and it's included in your common charges. Okay. So your homeowner association fees are common charges. So I get it because it doesn't cost me nothing. It's all included. So a lot of people are cutting the cord, as they say. Apps are the way to go. But I've been saying it, like I said, since the fall of 2017, and here we are, and people are starting to say, "Hey, he was right." Well,
you might know a thing or two.
Yeah, right. Well, I'm not that brilliant, but in the meantime, I always come up smelling like a rose because I look at things as a businessman. I understand what's going on in the world when it comes to boxing, when it comes to sports, and it's things are so obvious. They're sitting right in front of you. I mean, the people, everybody thought I was nuts when I said Showtime's going out of business. And they tell me, "Oh, look at all the big fights they just signed Canelo." I said, "It's a going out of business sale. You don't get it. They're seeing if it's worth staying in the pay-per-view business, and that they were using it as a model to go forward. And they found it wasn't even worth it."
Absolutely. Do you think boxing's in a space now where like we can operate without fighters having to sign these exclusive network deals? Because I feel like that's what's been hindering a lot of these big fights happening. It's always these network politics. So with like
No, it's not. That's not the way it is. How it is, and I don't mean to contradict you.
no, go
They
ahead.
signing with the promoter, and the promoter is aligned with a certain network. Is what's happening. So in other words, for an example, Shakur's with ESPN with Top Rank. Top Rank's with ESPN. He's fighting on ESPN. Period. You see what I'm saying? Okay. Tank Davis is with Al Haymon, and he's fighting on. He was fighting exclusively on Showtime. So that's how that works.
Okay, I know this. I know Ennis is probably a bit different though, because he's not technically with Heyman, but you know he said he's exclusively signed to Showtime. So like, what about fighters like him?
Well, that's one guy. It's not the industry.
Okay, fair enough.
And I don't think that's gonna. I don't think that's gonna come too often, especially after where he's basically getting his hand slapped.
Yeah. Okay. We had a question for you, Rick. Somebody asked, my man Hyro asked, he said, how does Pro Box make money if it's free now? It's a good question.
Well, you still can subscribe to it, and then you don't get the ads, and then or you can go on the YouTube and they make money from the ads, from the subscriptions, from the ads, and from the subscribers when you sign up.
Okay. I think from what I've read too, I think Gary Jonas is like a tech guy. He made a lot of money in the tech industry, if I'm not mistaken. So
that's true.
I don't think he needs, money like that. Box is probably a hobby for him.
No, yeah, it is, but he's trying to build something up that's profitable. He's got a son, and it's a business basically also for a son,
Oh no, it's a great. I love Pro Box. I love what they're doing for the sport. I mean, if I had to pick a favorite promotion company, that's probably my favorite one. Because I like what they do. Good fighters and great fights. That's the motto.
100%.
No, absolutely. I know you went to. You were there. You're still in Vegas actually right now as I'm talking to you. But I know.
No. I'm in LA.
My bad. LA. My bad. You were in LA for the Santillan versus Rocha fight, and you said that it's the best show, top to bottom. It's the best show you ever attended live. Why was it the best show you ever attended live?
Well, they had 3 big upsets. They had Rocha was a 6-1 favorite. He got knocked the fuck out. Okay. Joshua and James knocked out David Stevens. The guy was 13-0. First round.
Yeah, I was shocked that ended so quick.
And then the Towering Inferno, the sister, the little Towering Inferno, she knocked out some woman that and she was an underdog too, and she got knocked out. I mean, she knocked her out. So, you had 3 upsets. Every fight was actually packed. The crowd was going crazy, and it was a great show. Just a super show.
No, I enjoyed it, and you had Giovanni Santillan. I mean, I gotta give Top Rank a lot of credit because the narrative going into the fight was that they were kind of setting Giovanni Santillan over there to get beat up and by Alexis Rocha because a lot of people didn't really know a lot about Giovanni Santillan. He had a nice record, but he hadn't really fought anybody too great, and he gave a star-making performance. It's almost as if like the Top Rank staff sent an assassin over there to go beat up Alexis Rocha.
Well, it is what it is, and it was a all action fight, and Rocha was on the deck 3 times. What are you gonna do?
Yeah,
it happens.
It's boxing. But Santillan's emerged now. So like, what do you think's next for him? Because I feel like there's a lot of interesting fights out there for him in the division. But what do you think?
Well, if I was Top Rank, I'd be looking to go make a deal with Boots and make him a long term, like a 3-year deal, and I would put Santillan and Boots on ESPN.
I love that fight.
Correct.
How do you think that would go if they fought?
Well, it looks like Santillan can take a punch, and it looks like he throws a lot of punches. He's aggressive, and He's going to be in. He'll be in. He'll be in Ennis's wheelhouse. So he could get knocked the fuck out early, or he could do the knocking the fuck out. It depends which way you look at it. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
But hopefully they can get a fight like that together.
I know two of the other fights that I've seen people talk about that could happen maybe is like Josh Taylor, because Josh Taylor's ranked in the welterweight division, and
yeah, Josh Taylor's with Top Rank, and that makes sense. Yes, but I hate to say this to you, but the United States, nobody's looking for Josh Taylor in Santione. They might be looking for it in the UK, but they're not looking for it over here.
Okay.
That's not an exciting fight. An exciting fight would be him and Boots Ennis.
Fair enough. What about Teofimo Lopez? I know Teofimo Lopez was declared super champion by the WBO on 140, so he can move right up and just get the title shot.
He's not big enough right now to move up. The competition is too much at 140, and he ain't beating Santione. Let me tell you, no way, no how.
Okay, fair enough.
Not right now. Now, I'm not saying he won't win. I'm not saying that Teofimo won't win a year and a half from now when he grows into 47, but he's too small for Santione's a big, thick guy and strong as an ox.
Yeah, doesn't get tired. He seems to be very sturdy, and he's gonna.
Yeah. By the way, funny thing, Teofimo and Santione have the same manager, David McWhorter.
I noticed that last night when they were announcing his name. You're correct.
Yep.
We got a question for you, Rick. My man Hyro says, "What are the rumors about HBO Max getting into boxing? You heard anything about that?"
It's all bullshit right now. All bullshit.
Is Peter Nelson still over there at HBO? Or is he?
No,
is he done?
no. Are you kidding me? If he was still there, the whole company would be gone down. If Peter Nelson was a mortician or funeral director, people would stop dying.
Yeah, I believe you, because I know they lost boxing and they lost this other big show. I forgot the name of it. They lost a couple big shows besides boxing that people were pissed about.
Mm-hmm.
The following star wants to know, Rick, what are your feelings of overseas investment for boxing, since a lot of international fighters like Inoue are making noise for Japanese business and marketing? I guess
I don't really understand the question, but boxing is huge in Japan. Inoue's a rock star over there, and he makes a huge amount of money, and nobody's calling for the Stephen Fulton Inoue rematch.
Well, you brought it up. I know it's been a while since I had you on here. What did you make of the Inoue Fulton fight? Because I know you said Stephen Fulton didn't have much of a chance, and that's how it played out. So, what did you make of it?
If you remember correctly, I said he didn't have much of a chance, and I says that Crawford's going to beat Spence a lot easier than anybody would ever believe, and that happened too. So there you go. The more people listen to me, the smarter I become. You know. Do you know that?
Most of the time, yeah. Most of the time. Who do you think is the toughest fight for Inoue between like just at featherweight or 122? Who do you think gives him the toughest fight?
Nobody.
There's nobody?
It's all equal. You're going to slam that Galapagos around. He's just that good. I mean, what can you say? He's a monster because he's meek.
No, he's definitely not that. He's not that.
No.
Yeah, I know. I know he's a big rock star in Japan, but do you think there will be any sort of investment in maybe towards making Inoue a bigger star in the States? Because I feel like, I know Top Rank's a great company.
Well,
but
he's fought over here. He's fought over here several times, and they're going to bring him back, and he's going to fight here again, and we'll see what happens. Who knows?
Yeah.
You know, he doesn't speak English, so that's
no, I know that.
In America. What's that?
I know that. I just figured when he signed with Top Rank, I thought they tapped more into like the Asian American population in California. He's never really fought like over there. I always wanted to see what they would do over there with them.
Well, I would like to too, but they didn't take that risk. That's a big risk. financially. You know, you're looking at renting a stadium, you know, arena. You're looking at advertising costs and stuff, and it's a lot of money to recoup.
Okay, fair enough. What do you I mean? I know you're gonna have a lot to say about this, but a lot of people made a big deal about the last Showtime card with the going out of business final pay-per-view card between Keith Thurman and Stanionis. What do you think about that?
Well, there's 4 guys in 2 fights that they've been out of the ring 21 months on an average, I believe. I mean, how do you make that pay-per-view? I'm going to give you a statistical fact right now. You ready for a statistical fact?
Drop it on me.
The average PBC champion, okay? Now, that does include interim titles, but it does include secondary and super champions, all that. They fight an average of every 14 months in 1 week. You can't build pay-per-view stars that way. You can't build a fighter with a following on regular TV, on cable TV. You can't on any TV if you do that. And the fighter's can't be in supreme condition and shape because his timing's going to be off, and every time he gets hit, he's going to get hurt because, we hit with a good shot, it's going to feel it. Rather than if he was fighting regularly, he wouldn't feel those same punches. So, Al Haymon's not giving his fighters the best chance to win, and he's not giving his fighters the best chance to expound and become built in the stars because they're just disappearing for too much time in between fights.
Fair enough. Daniel Rubin says, "Hey BT, what about Angelo Leo back on Pro Box TV next week? What do you think about that?"
Listen,
I'm excited
Daniel. Daniel, you must have your Don King promoting cape on tonight. Okay, so in the meantime, I'm very impressed. And that you jumped on like that, I am very, very impressed, and I'm looking forward to seeing Angelo Leo on Pro Box on November 1st.
And you know what, Rick? That's the perfect segue because I was going to ask this later in the live. I feel like the featherweight division going into 2024 is in a great space because we got that Nick Ball Isaac Dogbay fight coming up. That's going to be a fun one. And then I don't know if you know anything about like that whole Odabek Komatov Raymond Ford fight that's supposedly going to happen.
Yeah, no, it's all good. But let me say one thing to you. I coined a line about Pro Box, and I used to say that the Wendy's Frosty for 99 cents was the best deal in America. Okay, then they went up to $1. It was still the best deal. Then Pro Box came along. And they are now the best deal in America for $1.99, far surpassing the Wendy's Frosty.
That's I know that's
the
hard
best
for you.
Bargain in America.
That's hard for you to say because I know you're serious about that Frosty.
Yes, I am. But Pro Box is a good value for the money, real great value for the money. They put on great fights. They got the best announcers. They got Malignaggi. They got Chris Algieri, former world champs. And it's an exciting brand of boxing. They do it old school, the right way. Absolutely. So there you go.
Harold wants to know, Rick, what are your thoughts on Gino Spadafora, Paul Spadafora?
Well, it's too soon yet. He's just a kid. He's like 16, 17 years old. He's Paul Spadafora, the former world champion, retired 49-1-1. It's his son, who was named after Paul's grandfather. His name was Gino. And they live in Vegas now, and he's getting great sparring every day, and we'll see what happens. He's a little guy, too. He's a very little guy, so he's got to grow yet and stuff. But what I saw of him on film, he looks very good.
And he definitely comes from some good stock with Paul being his father. So hopefully things pan out.
Oh my God! Yeah, one of the most underrated fighter of the last 40 years.
Yeah, I know you obviously played a huge role in his career. What made Paul Spadafora underrated?
I coined a line about him. Okay, Paul didn't come to beat you. He didn't come to win a fight. He won by making you look bad. It was all about the science of the game. I mean, his reflexes were incredible, hand speed, foot speed, reflexes. His chin was great. There was nothing negative about the guy as a fighter. As a person, he had demons, but imagine how great he was for all those demons. He was 9-0-1 in world title fights. The draw was a unification bout, and his loss was a robbery at the end of his career, like 2-3 fights from the end of his career when he was like 37, 38 years old. He retired 49-1-1. How great was this guy? And he was fucked up all the time.
So imagine if he was sober.
Imagine if he was completely straight. Yeah, I mean,
Who knows?
Paul knows. Listen. There's a really, really funny story about Paul. I'm going to tell it because I'm the one. When Paul reputedly shot his girlfriend, he went to jail for it. Okay, and Paul couldn't punch. He was a good body puncher, but he really wasn't a puncher. He was an incredibly brilliant, slick boxer. And I was at a talk show, and a guy called up. He said, "What do you think about Paul Spadafore shooting his girlfriend?" And he didn't kill her. I said, "Well, he can't punch. He's a bad shot too."
Yeah. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate.
No, but he's a great guy. I love Paul. I had a big influence in his career. I was the architect of his career, basically speaking. So
you did a hell of a job. You did a hell of a job.
Thank you. Well, he did a hell of a job. I mean, I had an easy client to work with.
Fair enough. I know the fight that you've been banging the drum for like over a year and a half when we spoke here on the channel is Sonny Edwards and Bam Rodriguez, and it's finalized. So what are your updated thoughts on the fight?
I think if you had to name the top guys in boxing with the top guys with ring intelligence, what I call ring IQ, in no particular order now. Just we'll go by weight classes. You got Fury and Usyk on top. Okay. You'd have Shakur Stevenson. Okay. Bivol. Okay, yes. Bivol, Shakur Stevenson. You would have Crawford. You'd have Bam Rodriguez, Sonny Edwards, and no, in a ways, ring IQ is not that like that. He's more just so strong and fast. Okay, but the last one would be Oscar Collazo, and I'm only going by weight. He's 105. We started out at the top.
Fantastic,
right? Oscar Collazo's ring IQ is off the wall. Sonny Edwards' ring IQ is off the wall, and so is Bam's. What do I think? It's going to be the fighter who executes the best. Bam is the puncher of the two. Sonny's a bit quicker and much faster and more nimble on his feet. It's going to be a great fight. It may not be a great action fight. It may be more technical, but at that level, the boxing talent and the ring IQ is so high. You'd have to just admire the beauty of the science of these two, fighters that are, the tops in their weight class. They're both undefeated. They I mean, they have so much in common as far as the ring IQ. Both they're top level fighters, and this is the best of boxing.
Yeah, and the thing is, even after the fight is done, I still feel like there's some great fights to be made. Like I know Sonny Edwards has went on record and said that one of the fights he'd like to have in Japan is maybe if Kenshiro wants to move up to fight Kenshiro. And I know when I was in Japan and I spoke to Kenshiro, he said he wouldn't mind fighting Bam. So what would you make of maybe the winner fighting Kenshiro?
I mean, you gotta love it, wouldn't you?
I would love it. Kenshiro. I mean, that's another fighter who I think is actually got a pretty good IQ. Is Kenshiro?
Yeah, he does. But he would fit in right with those guys. There's no question.
Yeah. Okay. I know Terrence Crawford, like he's in a power position now in boxing because he beat Spence and whatnot, and there's all this talk about what he's going to do next. What What are your thoughts on him and Canelo? You know, because he wants to jump up 3 weight classes and try to go, you know, dare to be great, so to speak.
Truthfully, he does everything better than Canelo, except the physical strength, because Canelo is a 68-pounder. But everything else he does better than Canelo. Will the poundage and strength separate them? It may, but if it doesn't, Canelo's in a world of trouble.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, and if there was a guy in boxing that's great enough to pull off something like that, I think Terrence Crawford would be that type of guy. You know.
Well, put it this way, he's not going to go through the motions like Charlo.
Yeah, it's sad because Jamel was one of the guys that, you know, he really did a great job of building his reputation up, and he kind of just destroyed his reputation in one fight. Just nailed it in.
Yeah, terrible.
Yeah.
Terrible.
You know, Tim Zoo's made a name for himself, and my man right here wants to know, he says, which USA network or promoter do you think Tim Zoo is going to sign with, Rick?
Unless Haymon comes up with a new deal, he'll be with Haymon because he's got a contract with Haymon, but with a deal, could be with Top Rank. Top Rank's got ESPN, so it could be with ESPN.
And it would certainly make a lot of sense. I mean, he's very marketable because, for one, he fights, so that's already half the battle right there. He stays active, and he's willing to fight anybody.
No,
and he's Zoo's son.
Let me give you what my saying about Tim Zoo is. Every fighter should aspire to be Tim Zoo. Tim Zoo is a promoter's dream. There you go.
Promoter's dream.
Yep.
I mean, my dad wants to know from you, Rick. He says, how much money are you? I don't know what he's trying to ask. I'm kind of confused by his question. He says, how much money are you
putting on Fury against that Ngannou? I'm not shit. I'm not putting any money in that.
Or maybe he's asking how much money.
It's not real boxing.
Well, maybe he's asking how much money are the promoters putting up? Because that's a lot of. I mean, how much money are they putting up for that fight?
I don't know. I heard Fury getting. I heard rumors of 45, 50 million. I heard the other guy's getting 10. So there you go.
Okay. I know at 135 we've had a whole crazy thing going on where, like, Frank Martin was offered $1 million to fight Shakur. He turned it down. You know, Shakur was offered 25%. $1,050,000 to fight Shakur for the title. He turned it down, and then Shakur was offered 25% to fight Devin Haney for undisputed. So what did you make of all those situations, Rick?
You know, it's ridiculous that Devin Haney could make Shakur an offer like Aram's going to let him go fight on another network. It's ridiculous. It's a joke. You know, Haney knew that. Haney knew that wasn't going to happen. Come on. It was just a publicity stunt by Haney. And as far as the other guy goes, is what it is. You know, I mean, it's not that big a deal. But as far as Shakur, come on, please, like he go make him an offer and he's gonna take him to another network. Like Aram and ESPN is gonna allow that. Come on.
Yeah. Well, I know. I guess from one of the things Devin said was that, you know, I guess that was what he was offered when he fought George, supposedly.
Yeah. Okay. Totally different situation. Where
so he's,
you know, George brought 40,000 people. How much?
Yeah.
Over to Australia. 4 people that asked for free tickets.
Yeah. Well, I just hope at some point they fight because, you know, there's just been too much delaying at 135, you know, with, you know, Tank, you know, with what they got going on with him, and then we just want to see the fights. How did we get into all this shit?
How did we get into this shit when we were talking about Showtime and Stephen Espinosa and Haymon? Now we're talking about all this stuff.
I don't know.
You're pretty slick. You're pretty slick. You know that?
Well, you know what it was. I got all my questions written down for you because I know sometimes I run out of stuff.
You're like the guy. You're like they say it got lobster soup, and you look and there's a little teeny piece of lobster right in the center of it, right at top, and there's no other lobster in the whole thing. That's what you're reminding me of right now. Continue.
All right. You got any thoughts on Carmel Moten? I don't know if you just heard about the kid, but
he's a young kid. He's a kid. Yeah, is he a good prospect? I'm sure he is. I saw him score that little knockout. It's great. It's great. I love it. You know, the young coming along full of piss and vinegar, and another fighter Mayweather can fuck up. You know?
Dang. Yeah, because I know he made quite a lot of headlines because Mayweather pulled up a publicity stunt where he basically said that he was going to put Carmelo with Lee Wood, which I didn't. Nobody with any sense would believe that.
Come on, please. The commission won't even allow it.
Harold wants to know from you, Rick. Was Espinosa a lawyer like Lupe Valencia and with the cartel?
Yes. Yeah. I no. He didn't handle cartel business. No, he handled regular bullshit, entertainment law and stuff like that.
Yeah, because I mean I've heard that rumor before that he's with the cartel, but I didn't believe it.
You talking about Espinosa? No, that's not true.
Okay.
Listen, Espinosa is a lot of things. We can't pin that on him.
Or being a lawyer for the cartel.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Not a big deal. Not a big deal, anyways. But you know, he was an entertainment lawyer mostly. You know, I think he probably started out chasing. He's so low. He probably started out chasing ambulances.
Rick, like as far as I know, the lot of things going on at 168 right now. I know got the Benavidez Andrade fight coming up. What are your thoughts on that? I know you have a lot to say about that.
I mean, Andrade shouldn't be on free TV, let alone pay per view. So enough said about that. Ugh.
Yeah. Well, you know, another guy at 68. I saw you tweet about him. You had a Christian and Billy. He's kind of been, staying busy, kind of doing something similar to what Tim Zoo's doing while he's waiting for his big shot at Glory. What do you think about Benavidez and Christian and Billy?
The difference is Tim Zoo can pretty much fill up stadiums and arenas and stuff, and the other guy can't sell 4 tickets to Billy. So it's apples and oranges, really.
No, I'm just saying they're both saying.
Billy's a good fighter, a good solid guy, very aggressive, good puncher. He's good. He's solid. But I mean, I'm not dying to watch the guy.
I got you. And I know you said I saw one of your tweets too, where you said managers, they don't really spend money on sparring partners anymore. They spend money on PEDs. You tweeted this back in September.
Right. It's true.
How prevalent is that in boxing? Like, do you personally know managers that like supply their guys? I'm only going to say this. Okay, there's many managers that are aware their fighters are doing PEDs, and some managers I don't think are aware, but there's a lot of fighters doing them, and a lot of them are not doing it for. See, here's my problem. I have a problem with a guy who does it for strength because it makes him more powerful and he can hurt the other guy. All PDs are all bad, but if the guy's doing it for conditioning, like for endurance, I don't have as much a problem with it. If he uses those type of I have a problem with, period. But to me, if you're using it to gain physical strength, that's really disgusting. So that's a story there. Okay. I know you've been working with the Golden Boy a lot. I saw somebody earlier in the chat ask about do you think Golden Boy will be able to sustain itself in boxing? Because now with these rumors of Top Rank,
they're doing very well. Golden Boy does very well. Yeah, they're very, very nice niche in boxing. They put on good shows. They treat the fighters properly. They treat people with respect and dignity. And I have nothing but high regard for Oscar and for Eric Diaz, the president of Eric Gomez. I'm sorry, not Eric Diaz. Eric Gomez, the president of Golden Boy, and they do a hell of a job. The shows are good. Last night's was unbelievable. The shows are good overall. They treat people properly. They put fights in the facility they're supposed to be in. You know, they have a good relationship with the Fantasy Springs Casino and Indio, California. They do their smaller shows there, and you know they just do a good job. Period. You know,
Yeah.
it's a very there's something about Golden Boy that's very unique in boxing. I'm going to tell you what that is.
Go ahead.
Every single person that has their job at Golden Boy is supposed to have their job, and that's the only company I know that's like that in boxing. I've never seen that with any other company.
Not even you wouldn't even say that for top. Like you wouldn't even say that for Top Rank. Like
no. There's four people there that shouldn't have their jobs.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So like I know you have a relationship with Golden Boy. I know you have one with Top Rank. They're both big companies in the sport. What would you say is apart from what you just said about the people with their jobs, what would you say is the difference between the companies, Golden Boy and Top Rank?
Well, Top Rank's bigger. They've got more employees. They're both run like corporate America. They both have COOs, presidents, all that kind of stuff. CEOs, all the CFOs. They're run by corporate America. Both of them. The big difference between the two of them is Top Rank does a lot more shows. They probably do twice as many shows as Golden Boy does.
Because of because of all the dates ESPN gives them, right? Because of all the dates that ESPN gives them.
Well, they don't give them. They own those dates. They have a long-term contract that's got 2 more years to run on it, and it started in June of 2017. So it's like it's tough to they get a lot of dates. I mean, tons of dates. So they had a Nui fighting in Japan. They got fights in England. They got fights in Australia. They got fights everywhere that they're putting on ESPN Plus on the app. So they're a little stronger in that category, but they really Golden Boy really treats fighters well. They treat people well. They're respectful. I have nothing negative to say about Golden Boy. So, and not because I'm doing business, it's because I've seen how they do business. That's why.
Okay. MVZBX wants to know, Rick. He says, does Ryan Garcia think they treat their fighters properly?
Ryan Garcia is an ingrate. Don't go by Ryan Garcia. Okay. He gets treated very well. How he feels he should get treated. Okay. No. Okay. Yeah. He's going to say no, he doesn't get treated properly, but he's also full of shit.
Yeah. Okay. Howard wants to know how from you, Rick. He says, is the zone next because Blavatnik can't keep tab?
Can't pay the tab.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think so. I think it's got a long way to go. I think they're building subscribers and they're building content and they're doing pay-per-view, and their pay-per-views have been pretty successful so far. So we'll see. We'll see going forward.
I don't know how that Devin Haney pro-grade pay-per-view is going to do. I think that one's going to tank.
That's not going to do well. There's no question about it. That's going to take a hit. There's no question about that. That can't do well. It'd be impossible.
Yeah, because neither one of those guys is drawing pay-per-view numbers.
No.
I know Top Rank had the recent fight with Johnny Beck and Vincenzo Gutierrez. Do you think Gaultieri? Do you think ESPN wasted a primetime slot on that fight? Because
because they're trying to build up. No, because they're trying to build up Jado Beck, and now he's a 2-division champ. A 2-organization champ, unified champ, and they're trying to build him up to make him big. It was a good investment. They didn't pay crazy money for that fight.
I'm sure of it. I'm just saying, you don't think it could have been better to put it on like the Shakur Stella Santos undercard because more people are going to watch that card?
No, no. It was in it was in the wrong location because they couldn't find a site for it. But as far as the TV and the fight itself, it was a it was a projected mismatch. But they're trying to build up the aura of Janibek is what they're trying to do.
I got you. You think they'll make any of the like unification fights, like the other one, like like Carlos, like maybe like I can't say Charlo because Charlo's not really active, but I know a fight that the fans do want to see is Johnny Beck versus Carlos Adames. Is there any possibility you think of that fight happening?
Well, it depends. If Heyman doesn't come up with a paying TV dates, and he does have the fighter, they'll have to send him across the street because Aaron will have the money to pay for the fight. So it all depends on what what's the name Heyman can come up with. So we'll see.
Yeah. Are there any fights you'd like to see Johnny Beck in? Because I mean, I know middleweight division is not exactly doesn't have a lot of great fighters, but are there any fights you think would be of interest besides the ones with Adames or the other champions?
No, that's about it. Nothing really else.
Okay. I know because it's been a while since I had you. I know you had Dubois and Usyk, and there was a lot of debate about was it a low blow, was it a legal shot? What was your take on that?
Completely legal.
Legal?
Right on the belt line. Yep, right in the belt line.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. That's what I thought too. I thought Dubois should have been heavyweight champion right now.
Yep.
And it's kind of unfortunate because like Fury's doing this whole Ngannou thing, so that's kind of turned a lot of people against him. And then now Usyk didn't look so good, so now Usyk and Fury. I mean, it's gonna be a big fight. It's undisputed, but kind of for me, it sucked the wind out of the fight.
It's a little. It took the wind out of its sails. It's a little tarnished now.
Yeah, just a little bit. Still a great fight.
Right.
Who you favoring in that one? Fury and Usyk.
Fury. Obviously, Usyk can't take a body shot.
Yeah.
And I think he's a little slower, and I just think Fury's one of those kind of guys he just doesn't know how to lose.
Fair enough. Yeah, should be a good one, man. Fury. Do you think Fury's motivation is still there? Because I know he's a master of mind games, and
If Fury's climbing between the ropes, he's motivated. Okay. And he wouldn't go in there. He wouldn't go in there if he didn't think he was going to win. It's not that kind of guy. He doesn't need I don't think he needs the money. He's probably sitting on a couple $100 million by now. And
he's going to be sitting on some more after this Ngannou exhibition or fight,
right?
Or whatever it is. Yeah, I know you're high on Jared Anderson, keep Top Rank, and I know I saw a tweet where he said he was using his skill set properly in his last couple of fights, and he's had the whole comments about he feels he doesn't need to be champion or something like that, something along those lines. He said,
I think somebody needs to put a muzzle on that motherfucker.
Yeah, because he's turning a lot of people like off with the comments.
I know that's true, but he's got the skill set to be something special.
Yeah, I mean, I know he had that Charles Martin fight where he was hurt, and he seemed to handle that one pretty well. So we'll see how it goes. Yeah. MEZ wants to know, who does Zhang and Philip Hrgovic fight next?
It's open for debate. We'll see what happens.
I know.
It looks like Hrgovic's going to fight Otto Wallin for the vacant IBF title, probably, but who knows?
That's what it looks like. I know they had Joshua at 2, and then they switched him with Otto Wallin. So you're right on that one. But Zhang, I mean, talk about Zhang for a second, Rich, because I know Top Rank has been investing into boxing with the Chinese market. What does it mean to boxing to have a Chinese fighter like Zhang finally break through and be a real fighter?
It's big. It's great. It opens up a whole new market, a whole other market, and more people will pay attention. So, I mean, it's great for boxing.
Have you ever done any business with Chinese boxing or Chinese boxers before?
Nothing at all.
No,
okay. Nothing at all. No.
Okay. Yeah, because I know when you work with Top Rank, maybe I thought it might have happened, but okay. Your boy, your friend Don King, he's putting on 2 shows in a 1 month period. I'm sure you're aware of that.
I'm disappointed. I'm aware of it. Let's put it that way too.
Well, what do you think about the shows?
Well, I mean,
Because you got Makabu versus Noel Nicalian on November the 4th for the WBC.
that's a good fight. That's a good fight. And then Broner's fighting
Chris
Chris
Howard,
Howard.
December
You know,
2nd.
Broner's entertaining, but he's not. He's shot, and he's a fucking whack job. But it's entertaining, That's what boxing's supposed to be, entertainment. So I don't really have a problem with it. But does that really need to do 2 shows in 2 months? I mean, that might be record setting for him in recent years. For Christ's sake.
No, it is. It is. I mean, normally it's just you get the odd show in the summer and that's it. Don packs it up, but he's doing 2 shows in a 1 month period. Yeah. So I guess credit to him.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what motivates Don. I really don't. You'd think that Don would be wore out in boxing now. He's 92 years old. He just turned 92 August 20th. I don't know. I love Don. He's like a father to me. But come on, got to stop with this shit. Jesus Christ, 92. Give it up.
Yeah, I know you have a lot of Don King stories. Are there any Don King stories that come to mind? Maybe anything recently from talking to him? Because I know you guys talk sometimes.
Not really. It's not really. Some of them you can't talk about in public. Because I'm blasting somebody out of the water or something.
Yeah.
But Don's a great guy. He's really done a lot of great things in his life, and he went from a street guy to to dealing with the presidents of the United States. I mean, come on. Doesn't get any better than that, and he's really, he's a real, he's a real success story. Let's put it that way to you.
Yeah, only in America.
Yeah, well, yeah. Yep, that's true.
Yeah.
So what other questions you got tonight?
Oh, I still got questions. I know you had a lot to say about the Eric Lubin Jesus Ramos. I thought it was a robbery.
It was a robbery.
Yeah. What do you make of Eric Lubin's place in the 154-pound division? Because
I didn't know he had one.
I mean, they're trying to get him one. To get in the fight, they're trying to give him one.
Yeah. I don't think much of him. He's got no defense. He's got a leaky chin. I don't think much of him. He's just all right. I wish him well, but I don't think he's much. I don't think he's any great shake.
He's just solid. Because like in Florida, in Florida, like I've been hearing about Eric Lubin for years, and like they hype him up like crazy here. It's ridiculous.
It is what it is,
Yeah, it is what it is. We mentioned Ryan Garcia earlier. He's fighting Oscar Duarte in a really, really tough, comeback fight. Guy can punch a little bit. What do you make of that fight, Duarte versus Ryan?
It's a good fight. It's a fun fight. Duarte has trouble making 35, so he's going to go to 40. And it's a good fight. He can punch. He's exciting, a little prick. And, it'll be an interesting fight. If Ryan's not on top of his game, he loses. If he's on top of his game, he wins. That's all there is to it. It's very simple.
Simple as that. We'll see how it looks. You think Derek James and him will be a good partnership? Because
I don't know if Derek James is a good partnership with anybody. When was the last time he had a winner? Won a fight? He was in the corner. Come on.
Frank Martin versus what's his name? Arthur Haratunian.
Yeah. Okay. One.
That's really it. Joshua versus what were he fought last? Who did Joshua even fight last? I forgot.
Yeah, that was huge, wasn't it? Come on.
Yeah, not big fight. He's been getting his ass kicked in all the big fights. So, yeah. Let me see. Did I run out? Did I run out of questions? I think I might have run out of questions. Let me see. Oh, I didn't ask you about Better Biev versus Callum Smith. That's supposed to be happening January 13th.
That's been canceled, what, 2, 3 times? It's not happened until January, middle of January. We're only in October, for Christ's sake.
Got
You
90.
know?
Got damn near 90 days still.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Callum Smith's a live underdog in the fight, but I really don't expect him to win. I think the other guy's too strong, punches too well, too tenacious. And Callum Smith, I don't think's got that kind of gumption when the going gets rough to survive a Beterbiev.
Yeah, he has. I don't think he's really felt real, legitimate light heavyweight power, like because he fought Mateo Batterleek and Lenin Castillo.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. I know. Are there any prospects that maybe you come across recently that you'd want to tell people about? Because it's always something.
Yeah, the only guy that I'm high on right now, that's coming along nicely is a guy named Arthur Bleznov. He's
The Chechnyan Wolf.
yeah, the Chechen Wolf out of Toronto. He's 13-0 with 11. He's a hard punching southpaw. He won the gold medal in the Pan Am Games. And he's managed by Keith Conley. He's trained by Sam Licari. And that's the story there. And he's he's coming along. So we'll see what happens in the next 6 months.
Okay. I know. I think did you tweet about Darius Fulgham with the Golden Boy?
Yeah, he's a good prospect. He's nice. He does some nice shit. He's a good fighter.
Yeah, got some good pop.
So, especially he's going down to 68 from 75, so he'll even be better.
Yeah, should be really interesting to watch. With him.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I asked you everything I wanted to ask you, Rick.
Well, I'm glad I came on the show. I hope you're glad I came on the show.
I am. I always enjoy you on here.
But you need to make an announcement to all your followers here that Super Chat, there was inflation that struck since the pandemic. In $5 it turned into 10, and $1.99 turned into $4.
That's right.
So in the meantime, they got to catch up with the times. These people, come on now, guys.
Yeah, trying to survive out here in these streets, trying to make something happen with this boxing.
I know. I mean, I was buying hamburgers for $9.95, and now they're $17.99 now for these fucking bastards. So that's crazy, It's crazy. But listen, I'm available anytime in your show. I don't want to use this cliche. Oh, you're one of my favorite guys. I like to go on. I wouldn't go on people's shows if I didn't like them. I do. I think you're a great guy. You have a great show. You get respect in the industry from the people that know you. Not enough people know you. They should know you, but they don't. You and I, of course, as you well know, met through Stacy McKinley.
Yep.
And and it's a funny thing. I met you all these years ago, but I've never met you in person. So we will get together one of these days. I promise. I will buy you that lunch I've been promising for about 7 years now.
I need that grouper sandwich still. I still haven't forgotten about that grouper sandwich.
At the Whale's Rib, right?
The Whale's Rib
in Deerfield Beach. Well, right. I'm glad you had me on the show tonight. Thank you. Available anytime you are, and look forward to being on your show again. And thanks everybody for listening. If you want to follow me on Twitter, it's at Real Rick Glaser 1. I have a verified account. I got about 8,700 followers, and I answer all boxing questions. Okay, if you're following,
and it's a fun follow.
If you're not following, if you don't follow, you don't get shit. Okay,
there you go. All right, Rick. Appreciate you.
Thanks you for having me. Good night.
Being on. All right. That was Rick Glaser. So hope you guys enjoyed the show. He definitely touched on some things and gave us some great box talk as always. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. I'll be live tomorrow. I'm not sure exactly like what we're going to talk about tomorrow, but we'll figure it out. So stay tuned for the live tomorrow and all the videos coming out here on True School Sports. And on that note, you guys take care. Like I say in every single one of these videos, you can love me or you can hate me, but I'm just a kid from Daniel. So until next time, take care.